What I want to do is have this end with some mini braids. I call them braidlets, or kind of just a fringe of smaller braids. And I decided while I was braiding that I would have how I wanted the colors. I decided I would have the 3 dark ones together as forming 2 braidlets. I'm going to drop them for now, though. I'm just going to leave them over there. I don't really need to put them on a holder since there's just so few of them, just 3. And then these 4 in this hand, I decided I want to make into a divided braid. So it'll have 2 little fringe braids. And I decided I want to have them very plain and just have one off-white one and one blue one instead of mixing the colors. If I wanted to mix the colors, I would turn these loops and have some have blue shanks up and some have the off-white up. It's really a very light pink, but it probably looks more off-white. I think the bracelet itself is busy enough, has a busy enough pattern that it might be nice if the ending fringe of braidlets or mini braids is very simple. So I'm now going to braid a divided braid with these 4 loops and kind of tug these ones out of the way if they get caught up in there. So it's again a 4-loop braid, but it will be braided divided. So I'm taking each loop without turning it over. So the pink shanks, or the off-white shanks, are going to stay uppermost. Here's the second transfer. Shift, tighten. Third. See, the other loops are getting kind of stuck in there. I'm going to pull them out. I'm just going to park those loops right there and give these black and orange ones a little tug. Tug them back out of the way. That'll do it. These back up. So I'm just going to keep braiding. Was that the right one to take? Yeah, when I start, sometimes it's hard to remember with with an even number of loops, which is the first move because you have the same number in each hand. I always start with the right. That's just a rule of thumb. And also I can tell by looking at the cell that this loop here was the last one through. I can figure that out. So then if it was the last one through, then we need to go on the other side. There. So this will end up making, let me hustle along here and try and, ooh, I only have a few more minutes left. This might have to be another video. This will end up making 2 little braidlets, which I can either leave joined at the bottom, the way they are now. The loops are joined, so or I can cut those apart and have them be quite free after I finish braiding them. And I'm planning, I might not have time to put it in here, I'm planning to do the same thing with the other little bunch of only 3 loops, the black and orangey loops. I'm going to braid them divided, a 3-loop divided braid, so they will also form 2 braids. So you can see here, let's park these, you can see here that 2 little mini braids are being formed. They're just going to come out of the bottom of hang off the end of the bracelet like a little fringe. I only have a minute or so left. I think I will kind of sew together these little sections of video into one larger one if I can. Otherwise there'll have to be a part 1 and part 2 to this bracelet tutorial. Let's see how it goes. Oops, a mistake there. You can really see your mistakes when you're this close to the ends of your loops, and you can also really see how the 2 parts of the loops braid separately with loop braiding. The upper shanks, since I'm not turning them over, the upper shanks are braiding a completely separate braid from the lower shanks. It's one of the amazing, cool, efficient things about loop braiding, that each move is actually braiding 2 separate braiding elements. Okay, now this is a bit ridiculous. Okay, I'm down to the bottom with this set. So there's one set of my fringe, and next I'm going to braid the black and orange one. Okay, continuing with this little bracelet tutorial, I've braided the length that I want for the bracelet. I've braided one set of the fringe ending of the braid that I want to have. I haven't cut this and tied it yet. I'm just going to let it hang there. Now I'm going to braid the other little bunch of 3 loops. I'm going to braid them into two little braids. So I put them on my fingers. That set out of the way, and now I will braid a 3-loop braid, but I will braid it divided, so it will form two little braids. This is my odd way of braiding 3-loop braids. I think it tightens better if instead of pulling out instead of pulling like that, I hold the hand that has 2 loops, I hold them straight towards me, and I tug much harder with the other loop up towards the back of the braid. I just think it tightens better. It sometimes tends to crumple if I don't do that, and I'm tightening firmly. So this is braiding 2 little braids. So I'm going to have 4 ending little braidlets, and I braid them all the way. I usually, when I have some extra length like this for a little bracelet or whatever, a key fob or something, I usually braid them all the way down to my ends, and then I decide later how short I want the braidlets to be, because I can shorten them when I tie them. But what if I want them kind of long? Just in case I do decide that I want them as long as possible, I do braid all the way down, because it's quite easy to shorten them. You just tie a knot higher up and cut them off. 3-loop braids can be really pretty. I like this pattern. When I get it off, I'll show you the 2 loops of one color and 1 contrast color. It makes a very nice braid pattern in a 3-loop braid. So again, it's braiding two little pigtail braids, actually. So there are my 4 ending braidlets. Here's the pattern that I don't know where this camera is focusing, but or if it shows, but it's a nice pattern that 2 loops of one color and 1 contrast color make for a 3-loop braid. So there's my ending braidlets, and I haven't decided yet if I want to. I could tie them together, or even this way, cut them and tie them, or I could cut them down here and tie them all as 4 separate